Hey. I'm not sure which episode this is because I'm not really counting because it's not really about that.
I think it's like the third, maybe.
Yeah?
I think it's maybe the third.
The third. It might be. But we might have started with episode 0 rather than episode 1 because episode 0 was sort of a little test thing that
I think it might have been the intro, maybe.
yeah, it was an introduction to see if everything worked. And so this is William's Wonderful World, where just as a bit of background, as a Christmas present for the kids, we bought an Oculus Quest, and I want Will to have an experience working with media and digital things because we homeschool. And so we thought we'd do a little review of the technology and what we think about the technology and follow the process as we go. And so today we're talking about the difference between certain games, but we're also experimenting as well at the same time. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this post and I'm going to move my mic. I'm going to right click on my page, which I haven't set up yet. Oh dear. It's all the technology stuff, isn't it? Right. Remember when you put a live video out on Facebook, what you can do is go to your page, right click on the video, copy the URL that appears. You can then go to other places and you can paste it onto other pages and it'll go out live on the other pages as well. Will, I want you to talk for a minute about the games that you've been playing recently. It can be absolutely anything. We've got a specific topic, but I want you to talk about the games that you've been playing recently that have been interesting for about a minute, because what I'm going to do is just add a little comment.
Like earlier today? Or every game today? Or
no, it's not about everything. It's just about what you've sort of played in the last week that you've liked or enjoyed. Yeah. And talk about that for a minute, and I'm just going to add a little note in here to say, hey people, you can join in the conversation. Okay.
Do I start now?
Yeah, do it.
Well, earlier today I was playing Minecraft, and I have this crazy world.
But wait a minute, Minecraft is not on the Oculus Quest. Oh, but you mean you were playing on a tablet?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to focus on the Oculus because this is all about Oculus. No, it's okay. It's okay. I mean, it's all learning, right? It's all learning.
Okay.
So what games have you been playing in the last week?
On Oculus?
Yeah.
Think.
Have you forgotten everything?
It's kind of hard to remember.
It's hard to remember. You're usually very talkative about it all. You usually can't stop talking about it all. So, oh well, that's kind of cool.
I can just remember what I played today.
Okay, we start with today then. Start with today. Hello, Melissa. Thank you very much for joining in the conversation. We're having a slow day today because I fell asleep in the afternoon, and that's not very cool.
He was asleep for around maybe more. He was asleep for around maybe more than an hour.
Thank you very much. You know, parents. It happens to parents, right? You just I'm gonna lie down for 5 minutes. And
I wake up and I say, I'm just going to lie in bed for another 60 seconds, and after 30 seconds, I'm dozing off.
Yeah, well, that's the morning problem where people hit the snooze button and then don't get out of bed at all. So, but that's a different story. We want to talk VR and the VR games. So, what's the best game that you've played this week? And then we'll get into Minecraft and all the things we want to talk about Minecraft, because I got some stuff that I want to explore. And if there's people out there that have got any questions, if any questions you got about the VR or the VR games or how to do things. And I got this idea that maybe we'll go down the Oculus Quest for Beginners page. And
excuse me.
Yeah, what's up, Will?
I can only remember what I played today for some reason.
Can you remember anything about yesterday? Can you remember your name?
My name is Will.
Right, that's a good start. Okay, we're getting somewhere. You have to start somewhere, right? And there's a lot of interesting questions on the Oculus Quest for Beginners page, and as we've only been using it for 3 weeks, that makes us beginners as well. And when learners share with learners, everybody grows. That's the way it goes. So, okay. So, what's the top game in the last week that you've played?
I can only remember what games I played today, as I've already told you twice.
Yeah, you can't remember raving about something yesterday. No. Do you remember where we live?
Hot?
Sorry? It's not.
I think it was super hot.
Super hot. Ah, you do remember something. That's cool. Right. So, yeah, our new game of the week is Super Hot. We're not going to review it, but I want you to say what you think is cool about it, just from a first take.
If you don't move, time doesn't move.
Yeah, it's
called. You move at your average speed. Everything moves a little slower than normal.
Well, it's called bullet time, right? Where you can slow time down to watch a bullet like shoot past you, which is kind of cool. So that's pretty neat, and it's good because you get to plan your next move. Things are not happening so totally quickly, and it's kind of the opposite principle to what was happening before, which is games were getting faster and faster, and people had to react faster. In this, it kind of goes in the opposite direction, which shows you how going in the opposite direction can give you an advantage sometime. So what it does is it doesn't speed the action up, it just slows it down, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, really. My favorite. I know my favorite level in Super Hot.
Yeah, you haven't done all the levels though. You just started it.
Yeah, but I know my favorite level so far.
What's your favorite level so far?
You know the two guys with the shotguns and the one that comes right around the corner after you shoot the two guys with the
That shotguns? Sounds like every level.
No, this guy is standing in front of me with a shotgun. Everything's in slow motion. He's like... Da, 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 da. So I grab the shotgun out of his hand.
Yep.
Blast his head off. Blast the other guy who comes with the shotgun running towards me in slow motion.
Yeah.
And then the shotgun flies through the air. It's going in slow motion, so I just twirl my hand to speed it up.
Yeah.
And eventually, it's getting close to me, so I grab it. And this guy who runs around the corner with his fists balled up, ready for a fight. So I'm like, who cares?
Okay, nice sound effects. Now let's just be clear. We know it's a game, right? We know it's a game, and we're not going to go out and do anything silly like that in the real world.
Yeah.
But it's an opportunity to sort of explore an element of fun. It's also kind of weird and nice how the graphics are done in a very simplistic way, and you're not distracted by too much else that's going on. Also, the enemies are made of glass, and they shatter when you hit them, which is just really bizarre, but works very well. Which shows you how, to use your imagination in the games, and it all works out really cool.
They shatter into a meat cleaver.
Yeah, and there's not that many games officially available on the Quest right now, but there's enough when you compare it to other systems. But there's enough to keep you really occupied, and I think immerse you within them. And there's other stuff coming up as well. Now, I want to talk a little bit about Minecraft. I want to talk about Voxel Works Quest, which is side-loaded application, and I want to talk about what's the other one? VR blocks.
Mm-hmm. It's got it written there.
Yeah. Okay, because I put it in the title. Thank you very much. Yeah. And I also want to address a question, because there was a question on the Oculus Quest for Beginners forum, which was about, I won't say the person's name because I'm not sure if that's a good idea, but I just, I can read the question. They write, I've heard of something called SideQuest, but it seems like a complex and dangerous way to sneak applications onto the Quest. First of all, SideQuest is for developers. These are the people that push the games and the applications and the experiences forward. Secondly, it's about as dangerous as
Having a cupcake in your hand?
Yep, that's a great example. Yeah. Yep.
Which to me is a little more dangerous because
It's about as dangerous as eating an apple. Yeah.
And there's like a 1 out of a 2 million chance you'll find a worm in there.
Yeah, anyway. So SideQuest is a way to push things forward. It's a way to experiment. How are developers going to get feedback on their games and make the games better if they can't share what's called the alpha and the beta versions with people? So they don't put out the final version of the game. They put out a version of the game saying, here's some of the experience. Give us feedback about how we can make it better for you. And it's win-win for everybody. So
shall we move on with the
review?
Yeah.
Yeah. Am I boring?
Get carried away.
Well, I am talking about something relevant. I'm not talking about Swiss cheese. Right. I'm sort of talking about how SideQuest is very cool, because I've played about 10 games on the Quest, which is not really very much, but I've played about 20 games on the SideQuest, and those experiences are better. There's also other forums where you can buy games. So, and I can't pronounce them, but you do find them out there if you just type into Google forums where you can buy games. Are you all right down there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Just trying to get my head around the mic.
Yeah. Okay. That's it's a very interesting thing to try to be doing. So you wanted to talk, right?
Yeah.
You wanted to talk. We want to talk. First point I want to make about Minecraft. Yeah, is Minecraft massive platform. Everyone's aware of it. Available on PC, games consoles, tablets, phones, etc. Yeah. And it's a fantastic example of how gameplay beats graphics. Because the graphics are very simplistic, but the gameplay is absolutely epic.
Yeah, I mean, like, the graphics are like, everything's all blocky and chunky. Just because it's all blocky and chunky doesn't mean it's bad. I've played it for maybe a few months.
Yep.
And I have a floating island fort.
Yeah, the creative element of it is fantastic. The best way to describe it, and everybody knows what it is, it's Lego in a digital form, basically.
Yeah, Lego in a digital form.
Yeah. Except you don't get those cool extra Lego pieces. You sort of have to build everything from the blocks. But it's not something that really interested me. I'm not a sort of Minecraft kind of person.
But different things happen with different blocks. I
So there you go.
I mean, like, if you add wool in a rainstorm, there's a just below 50% chance it'll get struck by lightning.
Okay. Well, all these things are going on, and it's kind of cool how you can have the multiplayer versions of it, and everybody can join in.
Yeah, PvP.
And we've had, through the Xbox, we've had you and your sisters and your mother playing with it together. Like I said, it's not my thing, but
yeah, Mom created
it.
a garden in front of my around maybe over 4-floor diamond mansion.
Yeah, it's great to play with all those elements. Now, here's the point, right? Why are we talking about Minecraft? And Minecraft doesn't exist on the Quest system.
Because the title is William's Wonderful World Live Discussion about VR, Minecraft vs Voxelworks Quest vs VR blocks.
Yeah. Well, what I want to say is that it began with Minecraft, but Minecraft have shot themselves in the foot. They've shot themselves in both feet, because Minecraft don't seem to be interested in creating a VR platform for their game. At least I haven't heard about it. There's no information on the internet about it. They don't seem to be, and that's what the customers are wanting. The clients are saying we want to be immersed in the world. We want to have a full experience of it, and there doesn't seem to be any movement in that direction. I don't know if that's because people are lazy, meaning they're just not listening, or there's something we don't know about it. But it is possible to build it because other people have built similar things. That puzzles me. Like like you go to shop and somebody comes to you, or thousands of people come to you and say, if you put this in your shop, we'll buy it for sure. And you go, nah.
That's like shooting yourself in the foot twice with
Yeah.
a shotgun.
Yeah. I mean, it's like shooting yourself in the head, really, because that kind of attitude is not going to drive anything forward at all. So that really puzzles me as to why people would do that. And there's not an answer except the madness of the world that we live within. Now, however, people take things into their own hands, and this is the great thing about life, that that it's building on the things that other people have built. What's called standing on the shoulders of giants. We can all stand on the shoulders of the people in history that have made wonderful, fantastic inventions, and we can all use them. Everything from the light bulb to the fridge to the car to the aircraft to the mobile phone, whatever.
So who I think was Albert Einstein that solved the poisonous leak in the fridge problem.
Yeah, I think there was he created a coolant for his fridge, which he later discovered could be used in like nuclear power stations or something. So to keep them cool as well. The strange history of the world that we live within. Who knows what will be good for what? That's why we need creativity, ingenuity. We need to build a bed. We need to build. Are you tired?
Kind of.
You haven't done anything to be tired today.
Except maybe get a fright from Project Terminus earlier today.
You've remembered something. Yeah, Project Terminus is a side quest, side-loaded.
Imagine a horror movie.
Well, we don't know if it's a horror movie.
In High Seas, I think it was by the same guy who made Project Terminus.
How do you know it was by the same person?
Because it said, because it had this little screen below me after I went through the whole computer scene with alien abduction.
Alien abduction?
I think it was alien abduction. I mean, like,
what are you talking about?
When I start playing High Seas, there's a button that says skip intro, and then there's a computer in front of me. You tell me not to skip the intro, so I hit a button on the computer.
Yeah, don't skip the intro because you don't know what's happening.
And then everything starts shaking and jumping around. I mean, like, first everything beside me on the desk jumps to the
How do you know it wasn't an earthquake? How do you know it was an alien abduction?
Because a light out my window was like, flash.
Well, maybe somebody had a torch. Maybe it was lightning.
Lightning isn't yellow, and if it was a torch, it would be a lot less brighter, and I would see someone behind it.
I'm pretty sure that I've seen yellow lightning.
No, I've never seen.
You've seen white lightning, yeah?
That's the only lightning I've ever seen.
White lightning. Maybe it's my imagination.
The only yellow lightning I've seen is on the Flash's suit.
Well, there you go. The yellow flash, right? That's the way it works. So, people take things into their own hands. And somebody has decided to, I think, single-handedly try to create Minecraft in a VR world by themselves. And it's called, what's it called?
Voxel Works Quest.
It is. And it's a side-loaded application that you can put onto your headset, and you get to play the character, and as you stand on the spot and jog up and down, your character runs around the game. So that's the basics of it. Talk a little bit more about your experience with that game.
I tried to craft something. I never even got it didn't even work.
It didn't work. Why didn't it work? What was the problem?
I don't know.
Because, I mean, it's a test, right? Somebody's
like,
experimenting with it to see what they can do. So things are not going to be perfect. But you can actually physically, you can it's virtual, but you sort of have to physically climb up the blocks, and you can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is
But
cool.
hey, once you've got enough blocks, you can just build miniature blocks. Like you can just play around with it. You could just sit on the floor cross-legged and go build, 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 build,
Yeah,
build, build.
yeah. We did have problems though with it before because it is just like a testing version that we got stuck inside the blocks,
Yeah,
which is a bit
actually,
weird.
Zora's the one who did that.
I thought it was Jazz. Maybe it was Zora. I don't know. Anyway, they were trying to climb up the blocks and they sort of fell forward and they got stuck inside a block, which then caused the game to sort of
Crash.
crash a little bit, which is a bit weird. But the person who's building it is doing a really good job because it's one of those endless worlds that sort of self-generates as you explore it. So that's pretty cool. And the basics are there, but there's you need that social element which is not there of meeting other people within the game, and you need to be able to do more. And you can only do the basics with it right now. But it's a great idea, and it's an example of how one person who knows what people want can provide something, whereas a whole organization. Yeah, are you ready for bed?
I really wish I had a drink of water before I did this.
Well, I did ask you. Remember,
wasn't thirsty
I asked
then.
you, do you need something before we start? And
But I wasn't thirsty then.
but you have to think about the future, don't you? Right?
I yawned out all my energy.
That's funny. You yawned it out. Good job. So, we're not sure that the Voxel works is going to develop in any great way, but it's an example of how one person can change things and knows what people want. And it's just ridiculous that my organization involved in Minecraft is not going to enter the VR world because they're going to get outgamed and outplayed by everyone else who's going to go in that direction, because that's the way of technology, and technology always wins.
They're probably already working on a different project, maybe too big. They're probably already working on a project, maybe too busy to do like a VR version. Maybe they have that planned for the future.
But they would market it and tell people so that people could be ready for it coming and anticipate it and get excited about it, and they're not doing anything like that. You need to let people know about things before they happen. You need to build up the momentum, like the Pavlov game, another side-loaded game, great game, probably one of the best first-person shooter games, especially if you can team up with other people in it. It's not perfect, but it's great fun. And they're saying now that that won't be released until next year. That's a great name. That's a great 4 names, actually. That's very cool. So, I guarantee that they're not interested in the virtual technology, but what do I know? Most of my prejudgments turn out to be wrong anyway, but that's the way it goes. At least I can admit it. There. I was saying something. What was I saying about Minecraft before you jumped in? You need
epic.
You need to talk into the microphone.
You
which
said
is you've not
you
been
said
doing for the
something
last
about
minute.
it being epic.
About what being epic?
The game. You said something about its graphics, how it's epic.
Which game? Pavlov.
Minecraft.
I was talking about Pavlov being epic, not Minecraft.
You asked me what you were saying about Minecraft.
Sorry, what did I ask?
You asked me about what you were saying about Minecraft.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I meant the last thing I was talking about, which I think was Pavlov, before you jumped in. If you go back and listen to it, I'm sure you'll discover that. All right. You got to follow the thread of the conversation. Topics change.
So it's like half talking about Minecraft, half talking about Pavlov, and everything else, and back to Pavlov?
No, we're talking about the Oculus Quest well, and the things related to it.
You have blown up my mind.
That's the world that did that well, right? So, we've talked about the first 2, Voxel Works Quest. Why are you banging your head off the wall? there's someone that lives there. I'm sure they won't be happy with that, right? Um, for those listening to the audio, he's now punching himself in the face, which is what kids do, right? So Voxel Works Quest is like a work in progress that's sort of fun for about 5 minutes. Minecraft have decided to completely shoot themselves in the head by not developing a VR version of their game. VR blocks. If you're sleepy, people listening to this are going to fall asleep, right? You know that,
No.
right?
Oops.
Because what happens is the energy is mirrored. Yeah. If you don't put energy in, people can't take energy out. So, talk for a minute about the VR blocks.
Okay, so we're moving on to the next, right?
Yeah.
Okay, VR blocks. Everything is kind of like you use like half a block, like half a block, and
Talking to the mic.
you use it to build. I built a balcony for Zora and her floating house in the game.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a game which is very similar to the principles in Minecraft, but it's a whole world, and it's called VR blocks, and it doesn't exist as a game that you put into the application. It actually exists as a website online. You just kicked the mic into my mouth. Right.
Oops.
Right. So so it's a website, which means that people can play on their computer, or if you access the website through the Oculus browser, just the VR blocks, then you can play it in VR on your Oculus Quest headset, which is really cool. And it's much more complete. So tell us about what you're able to do in that game.
Well, you have these two hands which are like sticks, and there's like a pad you can choose between map and what was it? Right, the color of the block that you place.
Yeah,
the
that's
map
cool.
would allow you to just teleport anywhere.
Yep, that you can see, which is kind of cool. And the colors you can change the shading of the colors and the blocks, and it's very fast. You can do things really, really quickly. It's just like point and click to jump to a new place, or hover towards something, or
just point flick to teleport.
Yep. And it's the same to build or to remove blocks as well, and that's kind of cool. And it seems
you don't flick to add blocks; you just trigger to add and grip to take.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's very easy to build things. You can build things very quickly. There's the whole world. There's a sky floating overhead. There's this forest you can go through, and there appear to be other people in the world.
Mm-hmm. Last time, my sister Zora ran into an orange glitchy guy.
Yep. And so we followed the guy around, and obviously you can't communicate.
And earlier today, I ran into like a blue guy.
Yeah, and the cover.
And when we were just before we were leaving the game, I quickly made a giant hello sign.
You did, to communicate, because there's no other way. You can't talk through a microphone, or you can't. There's no way of texting through the game. So you can build words and they communicate things, which is the kind of nice about the element of construction. And I think people have done that in the game and other places, and they've left words there. And it seems that what you build and you leave, you can go back to at a later point, because we built something last week and went back to it again, and it was still there today, which is kind of cool. And
there's something really bad about what happened when I came there.
Oh, okay. I didn't know something bad happened. Tell us about that.
The ground. It was flooded.
It was flooded.
Yeah, I mean, like the whole black and white spot everywhere. 1 second it was there. Next second, where the hell is it?
Pardon the language. It was it's underwater because there'd been a flood in the game, right?
Yeah,
and there was water everywhere.
I mean, did somebody like code that up to happen like they did with the Fortnite meteorite striking the map?
I don't know. Well, it's a mystery because we don't know who built it and we don't know who made it. And it's crazy that people are complaining about, people are using the VoxelWorks Quest, which doesn't work, or they're complaining about there being no Minecraft. And this game already exists online and people can get online and play it online, but nobody's doing it. And that's just weird because people complain about something and then you give them whatever it is that they want that they're complaining about that they don't have, and then they're not happy with it and they don't use it. That's
Mm.
just weird. That's just really weird. So, so there's 3 games out there. There's Minecraft that's not on the virtual platform. There's VoxelWorks Quest, which is a simulation of Minecraft, which is incomplete. And then there's VR Blocks, which is pretty much a complete game which you can play with a headset and through the browser on the headset. And people are not doing it. I don't know. Maybe people are just interested in other things. So, what do you think is going to happen with the games?
I just hope they might go in the direction that they did in the movie Ready Player One.
Okay, yeah, because I didn't know that was like a sort of VR orientated film. I only knew it was futuristic. I didn't know that much about it because I don't follow what's happening in the
It's based in the year
media.
2040.
Yeah, and also didn't get because I don't get time to watch films because parents don't because they're busy doing other things. So there was a lot of VR within the film, and people say that there was propaganda for VR. It was trying to sell VR to people, and maybe yes, maybe no. I don't know.
In the film, there's only one VR world that has got everything in it.
That's going to be the Facebook VR world, I imagine.
It's called the Oasis in the film.
Mm-hmm.
It's got Minecraft world, like a disco world, and Planet Doom, where basically everybody who's not careful dies.
It's got a Minecraft world in it, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. See, I haven't seen it. I don't
In
know.
the intro to the Oasis in the film, it passed something.
You've got to talk into the mic.
It passed something called Minecraft World.
Okay.
Plus, later in the part of the film, after the Oasis intro, there was these guys in containment cells. They were like,
okay. Well, that
yeah, okay.
you were sort of describing how people lift something, turn, and put something down. Lift something, turn, and put something down. Yeah.
Yeah, they were doing that in the film in one part. They were like, grab block, take, drop.
And why were they doing that?
Why were they doing that? Because I think they were trying to recover 3 keys that if they found them within the VR Oasis world, they could get ownership of the Oasis. Because in the film, the person who created the Oasis died.
Okay. So that's a film concept called a MacGuffin, which is you have something that you're searching for, and that drives the whole plot and story of the film. So there are these, you said 3 hidden keys, is it?
Yeah, 3 hidden key Easter eggs.
Easter eggs, but aren't Easter eggs mistakes?
Not exactly they don't exactly have to be mistakes. Like in Disney Pixar had Easter eggs. In Up, the door number, and in one of the Toy Story films, the license plate, they were the same, and I think it was like Disney's birth date on it.
Okay, so they got the little in jokes, where they put little pieces of information for their friends or something.
In Up, there was a Pizza Planet truck. In Toy Story, there was the same truck.
Yeah. Well, it's the same company that makes those films, right? So.
Yeah, Disney Pixar.
Yeah, they might have fun adding similar elements in. So, it was called Ready Player One, the film. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, why is it called Ready Player One? It's a strange title.
Guess they couldn't think of any other title. Maybe. I don't know. However, one of the characters is like the first one to the top of the board when he finds the Easter egg.
Okay.
The first one to the top of the Easter egg board.
Okay. And the Easter egg board is like where they calculate who's getting the keys or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And how does the VR fit into it?
Well, the Oasis is accessed via VR,
Mm-hmm.
and their headsets, I mean, they're tiny compared to what we have now. The headsets is like just a pad that fits over your eyes. It's got a rectangular pad, and it's just about this thin.
Okay.
And it's like tiny computers that augment the reality around you. And if you and to play and in Ready Player One to play in the Oasis, you have to like have some kind of treadmill.
Somewhat. Treadmill?
Yeah, I think it was something like that. What was
Uh-huh.
it called again? I think it was treadmill.
Treadmill's like what you walk on,
Yeah.
or like a jogging training or something
Yeah,
like
in
that.
every direction treadmill
Uh-huh.
with sensitive floor padding.
Wow. Wow.
And they would have strings around you that would react to what's happening in the Oasis.
That's a bit weird. Wouldn't the
And
strings get tangled in each other?
oh no, they're attached in like special ways and they're bungee like. I mean, like if you're sitting down in
Like
the
that.
if you're sitting down in a
Okay.
chair in the Oasis,
Mm-hmm.
the strings hold you in a way that you're sitting down.
Uh-huh. Okay.
If you're driving a car in the Oasis, the strings hold you in that way.
Ah, so they're applying some kind of tension to you. It doesn't seem like a very practical way to do it.
I mean, every direction treadmill. They've even got a suit that, in the film, they've even got like a suit that you can feel what's going on in it.
Yeah, it's called a haptic suit where you can sense hot and cold and pressure when you're wearing it. Um, some people have shirts that are made of that material, and they listen to music and they can feel the music thumping and beating in their body when they wear those clothes. Is that cool?
Yeah, imagine if they did that with VR. In the Ready Player One, they did that with VR.
Mm-hmm.
They had these giant video ad billboards all over the place talking about the suit.
Yeah. Well, these also these films tend to try to predict what's coming in the future. Um, I don't know. Do you think it's realistic? Do you think that's going to happen? Do you think people are going to lose themselves in virtual worlds and forget what reality is?
Maybe unless somebody closes that world on Mondays, Tuesdays, maybe Saturday,
Isn't
Sundays, Saturdays.
isn't that something that happens in the film?
Yeah, they close it on Mondays and Tuesdays in the end.
Okay, so that people have a break from it.
Yeah,
Well, it's a bit odd because it's a bit
it's
it's
kind
a
of
bit
like
like working
it's
the
kind of
working
like
week.
Saturday and Sunday when the shops close.
That's what I'm
In the
saying. Yeah.
Oasis, you play games to earn money. The more coins you get, more money you get. It's like
Wow,
it's like
that's
one
deep.
wrong move, if you die, you lose everything, but you can also respawn.
Respawn. That's like come back to life. Yeah.
Your avatar can come back to life, but you lose everything.
Mm. So it's like a game where it's like snakes and ladders. We land on a snake and you go back to the beginning, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, it's kind of crazy. Well, it does simulate elements of life, right? Where for a lot of people, work is a game. For a lot of people, money is a game.
I mean, you die, you go back to the beginning in the film. I mean,
Mm.
somebody almost died when they tried to watch the virtual version of Shining, trying to get another one of the keys.
Talking to the mic. What's So how does Shining connect to that? Because Shining's a horror film, no?
One of the keys is in it. One of the clues was, I think it said something about a creator who hated his creation. So they thought about Stephen King
Mm-hmm.
and the book he wrote, and about how he hated the film it was made into.
Uh-huh.
And he said, and then they thought about about Hathaway, which was the person who created the Oasis's Love, who was stuck in the Shining, like a virtual version of her
That's
dancing in
really
the zombie ballroom.
I don't even know how they come up with these stories. That's far beyond anything that my brain could
I mean,
comprehend.
in the Oasis, you are the character in the film if you go to the movies.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you go to the movie, but you're the main character.
If you enter it, you enter in the world, and it's like you're in it. I mean, like they entered the hotel of The Shining. I mean, there was this unlucky guy, H. He was like, bonk. What? Where does that ball go to? He's like, in real world, he's around the same size as the main character called Wade Watts.
Okay.
His wait wait H, well, in the virtual world, H is let's see,
I'd like to help you out, but I haven't seen that film really, so I can't make a comment.
his head is from his shoulders above this roof.
Are you saying that obviously the character in the virtual world is different from the character in the real world?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can be who you
So,
want,
yes,
basically.
and it's got like a virtual extender. Somebody tries to stab through you. Extend.
Oh, does this mean that so that you don't die or something like that?
Yeah, I think he had that built into his avatar.
Oh, okay. Okay, so they're kind of, the avatar can do whatever you want. It's not real.
Yeah, and then H found the two girls in the film Shining. He tried to follow them into the elevator.
Okay, I don't think I want to know any more about the horror story element of that, because it's
Wade Watts' avatar. Well, Wade Watts' avatar is called, I think it's like Parzival or Parzival. It's Parzival.
oh,
And
okay.
Parzival called out for H to don't go into the elevator.
Moving on, it's all very cool. It's all very cool. Some people think that reality is virtual, like the Matrix thing. You've seen the Matrix film, right?
The first one of the three.
First one of the three, and that's.
And I desperately want to see the other two.
Yeah.
It's on my films to watch before I die list.
Yeah. Okay. We can take care of that. So, what was cool about the first Matrix?
How a guy entered the world and how he found out he could like dodge bullets and fly.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it's one of those films that.
It's one of those films that puts you in like a virtual world, except you're in a chair, but your mind is like put in an eggshell of a virtual world.
Yeah, it's the whole concept of harvesting people, and the people don't know that they're being harvested, and the people
for
are just
energy
used
for the robots.
Yeah.
In the years around 2099 in the film.
Yeah, it's a very profound movie. It's not the first movie like that, but it's definitely one of the best. And the crazy thing is that when they make sequels, it's never as good, right?
Yeah, but luckily, but sometimes they're lucky enough to make a third film. Transformers is super lucky. So is X-Men.
Yeah, well, they made giant franchises out of it, and
I mean, like there's even a Guinness records for biggest Transformers collection.
Yeah, people do silly things in the modern world. I'm not sure that having a giant Transformers collection is really the best way to go. However, there's nothing that says you can't collect whatever you want to collect. So if that's what makes you happy, then that's what makes you happy, I suppose. Why not? Human beings are natural collectors anyway. It doesn't matter who you are, where you are. You end up collecting some level of stuff that
like I collect Pokemon cards.
Yeah, the stuff piles up around about you, and you eventually have to try and get rid of it at some point. Hopefully, with the virtual technology, we'll have less stuff and still be able to do things.
Yeah, I mean, like in virtual reality, where there is no space, there is space.
That's a great point, actually. That's quite profound. That you can essentially have as much space as you want. which is weird because people think, well, I'm going to be trapped in my room forever thinking my room is infinite. But I don't know. I think my belief is that people are more intelligent. Just because you use VR doesn't mean you're not going to go outside and have fun. Doesn't mean that. It still means you can explore stuff. And there's other cool stuff that I've downloaded that you haven't used yet. So we'll get to all the different educational tools and building robots and all of those things, which kind of have some element of fun. So we talked about the Minecraft things. That was important to get that out of the way. What do you think we should do next? What should we do in the next one?
The next episode?
Yeah, you got to talk into the mic. That's one of the rules.
I'm not exactly sure.
Okay. I still think we should do Vader. I think we should talk about Vader.
Yeah, I'm starting to think so too, because I figured out how to add dual blades.
Yeah, you can do that in the third episode. I won't talk about the first episode because it's the game is very, very groundbreaking in terms of how it immerses people and allows them to share the journey.
Yeah, I hope there's more episodes because so far there's 3. One where the story unravels.
We're going to cover it in the future, but let me share something with you now because the topic's popped up. I think the game is absolutely brilliant, except for one thing.
What?
The bats, or the birds, or those strange little flying things. Because
you mean the pesky vermin?
Yeah, they're not in the Star Wars films.
That's because they're probably found only on. That's probably because they're found probably only on Mustafar. And there's only been like one scene in Mustafar.
Yeah, but
I think it was Mustafar.
I have no idea. I have no idea. But I don't remember seeing them in any Star Wars film and introducing.
I mean, there's probably
flying
only been
birds
one
attacking
scene on that lava. There's only probably been one scene on that lava planet in the whole Star Wars movie series.
Go talking to the mic. Right.
There's probably only one scene on that planet in the whole Star Wars movie series. Actually, maybe 2 scenes.
Oh well, but it's getting out of it's getting proportionally out of control now with all the different cartoon series that exist. The one with Ezra and the Clone Wars, and now you've got the Mandalorian. You've got the in-between films, and other independent
I think it was like
cartoon
anthology
films.
Movie series.
And then you've got the fan-made films as well. I'm lost. I'm lost in the amount of data and information that exists.
Got Rogue One, a Star Wars story. I think that was one of the scenes where it was shot on Mustafar.
Yeah, I don't know, but it was much easier when there were only 3 films and books that you could read if you wanted, or comics if you wanted extra information. Now it's an entire universe, and it's impossible for me to keep track.
Some people even consider it their religion.
Oh yeah. Some people actually think that they're Jedis. Oh, they might be.
And I think some Star Wars words were added into some dictionaries.
Yeah?
Yeah.
For example?
Jedi, Padawan.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, some people actually believe that they're Jedi. But they're not, because they don't have lightsabers and they don't live in space and travel between planets and stuff and have magical powers. So it's all very delusional. But that doesn't mean you can't enjoy the game and enjoy those fantasy elements of play. It's great to see imagination come to life, which is the fantastic point about VR. So maybe we'll cover those things next.
I haven't been talking much. Maybe it's because it's really late in the day.
Yeah, we should actually do it a little bit earlier.
Yeah, because maybe earlier, just before I've had a drink of water.
You can have a drink of water at any time.
What, you mean like now?
Yeah, but we're going to finish in a minute, so
no, I guess I can hold it for that long.
Hopefully you can. So this was our little chit chat about VR and all things related and around VR. If you're interested, leave a question. We'll try to help you. We'll try to answer it. This is William's Wonderful World. This is our little technological experiment to share information with people and see if we can connect with people who are out there somewhere. I recommend that families, if you've got the technology, that you sit down and you chat with your kids about it, and that you get their perspective. And I've seen a lot of adults using the technology, but not that many kids. And I really want to hear what the kids' perspective is about using it, and about using it to learn, and about it being part of the future as well. Looking down the Oculus Quest for Beginners page where I mirrored this video, there's a Doctor Who VR coming very soon. A lot of other people experimenting with the live streaming. Live streaming is just not, the quality is not there. It's much better to record within the headset and post it after. It's not as exciting, but the quality is absolutely better. Everybody's modding their headsets to make them more comfortable, which is really cool. New things in the works. Interesting post about how to play Beat Saber with weighted gear, so that it's more of a workout for you. And I think that's going to be great in the future, although we have to solve the problem of people sweating into the headsets, because how can you share your headset with somebody else after they've sweated into it? It's not very cool.
Maybe they could replace. Maybe they could make like some kind of mix between foam and sweat stopper stuff.
Or some kind of disposable sort of face guard or something, where you could wear it for your exercise, and then afterwards you could either throw it away, or if you want to be environmentally friendly, have a collection of them that you wash and then reuse. Yeah. That would make some kind of sense to me.
Maybe sometime in the future they might have like nanotech headbands that you could just squish behind your ear, and a nanotech headband would just go around your head.
Wow, that's an amazing idea. Did you come up with that yourself?
I got the idea from Marvel Star-Lord's mask. He just taps something around his ear, and a whole nanotech mask just builds up around his face.
It's interesting. It's interesting where we're going with the technology.
In the last two films with Iron Man in it, he has like a nanotech suit.
That it sort of builds and replicates itself around him. Yeah.
Yeah, and like he loses a bit of nanotech on his suit. He has to take another bit from around his body to cover that up.
Okay. It's interesting where it's all going.
I mean, he's like, like the way he activates the nanotech suit is like he's got this kind of magnetic thing attached to him. He's like, to tap, and it just goes like an egg.
It makes it look easy, but none of that stuff is easy. All the technology is quite complex, and some of it's going to work, some of it's not going to work. That's the way it goes. But it's step by step with technology. It's step by step. But don't lose yourself. Don't lose yourself to the technology. You have to stay in control of it. Don't let it control you, for sure. Right. It's been a pleasure having this chat, Will. Thank you very much for finding the time this evening to talk about VR. I really appreciate it. As usual, this will be mirrored in other places online, and it'll be interesting if people leave their questions, comments. That would be cool.
Excuse me?
Yes?
I'm sorry if I haven't been speaking enough today.
Well, I'd like to apologize for speaking too much, so maybe that's the problem. But I asked you some tricky questions at the start.
Yeah,
like what did you do yesterday? And you were like, I can't remember. Yeah. So you gotta be focused on these things. I mean, I have problems with those questions as well, but the secret to answering the question is really to talk about the things that you want to talk about, and you know how to talk about, and you kind of did that. So you're part of the way there with that. You know, if you look at how politicians answer questions, right? Somebody says, what do you think about the present economy? And they say, well, I had a good holiday, right? You know, they talk about something completely different. They're experts. They talk about what they know about, and that's the way that it should be. So Thanks to people for tuning in. That's it. William's Wonderful World.
Bye.
Another episode.
I hope next time I'll be more energy filled.
Yeah.
Bye.